How you doing, guys? Welcome to the Fit for 90 podcast. I am your host, Cayman Bandel, non-league footballer and strength and conditioning coach. Today's episode is a very special one. I am joined by one of the longest, I think you are actually the longest serving member of Fit for 90 since the inception of Fit for 90. Harj Bahra, he's been with us pretty much since the beginning, I think. He's seen the program evolve. He's tested countless updates, which I've asked him to do. He's helped shape a lot of what Fit for 90 is today. We're going to talk a little bit about his performance and kind of the journey he's been on. Also, the injury that he suffered. He had quite a big injury with his ACL. Was it a few years back now, wasn't it? And kind of how he's had to rehabilitate that, what we've focused on, and how he's had to shift his focus from athletic performance to actually rebuilding, and also not just kind of physically rebuilding, but mentally as well. It's been quite a journey, and we're still on that journey, which is incredible. But we're going to talk about resilience. We're going to talk about setbacks. We're going to talk about staying consistent and what keeps Harj going, even when things get tough. So first of all, welcome. It's good to have you here. This has been a long time in the making, to be honest with you. Let's rewind a little bit, right the way to the beginning. Where was you before you joined the program? Like, what was the thought process before you joined Fit for 90?
Yeah, great question. Firstly, glad to be here. As you said, been a long time coming, so glad we finally got around to it. Good time to be here. So yeah, let me go back to the start. I think, as is with a lot of people, is that post-COVID period.
Yes.
You know, a lot of uncertainty, not very much sports going on. Of course, no access to the gym. So coming into that kind of period of time, overweight, unfit, not really taking football seriously, especially after university, where I would say it almost peaked. And yeah, just kind of unsure about number one, diet, number two, nutrition, number three, mindset.
That COVID period, there's I always find there's two groups of players, right? There's some lads who were came out of it fitter because they had nothing else to do and they just literally just trained every day. And then there's another group, and there's no good or bad here, but there's another group where they came out of it and they really, really struggled. And I was in both groups at different points of COVID. I came out of it, I put on a lot of weight initially. Did you find it harder or did you find it easier? Kind of when COVID hit, to be able to go and do the training and keep ticking over?
Yeah, initially I found it harder, but I think for the first maybe 4, 5, 6 months of it, I would say I was in quite good shape.
Yeah.
Doing the home workouts, keeping things ticking over, just hoping the gym might be open the next day. Of course, back then it was just pure bodybuilding. Started training.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of slowly evolved the garage setup. But of course, in terms of equipment, we were still quite limited.
Yep.
And then it kind of got into the bad behaviors, skipping workouts, just not really doing a lot, eating a lot, you know how it is, drinking.
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely saw those two types of
Yeah, same here. Yeah, definitely. I remember we used to call them lock-ins. So we go out and train, and there's later on we'll meet up, we'll have a few beers. Okay, cool. We shouldn't have been doing it. We shouldn't have been doing it, but we did. And you just lock into someone's garage or something, and suddenly before you know it, you've been drinking for 4, 5, 6 hours, and it's you're absolutely hammered within a garage with your mates. You're blaring bhangra music or whatever. And before you know it, it's that becomes a daily, almost weekly thing. It's it's not a good place to be in, but a lot of people experienced it. It was a tough time. In terms of coming back to so post-COVID, what were the problems you was trying to solve at the time when you realized that, okay, I've let my standards slip a bit? What was it you was trying to improve on?
Yeah. So can kind of tie this down to a few things. The first thing was, I think routine. Routine's a big one for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Having graduated from university, and then, around 2019, and then kind of going through that period of looking for a graduate job, kind of finding your next step in life, that essentially being taken away from you for however many years, trying to get back into that number one routine, escaping jobless lifestyle, essentially, was a big factor. The second one was, I think, as mentioned before, is not really having an end goal with training, nutrition, kind of just going through the motions.
Yep.
And then I think finally I would say, maybe a bit of a kind of add on to that one, not having a focus.
Yeah.
And those three kind of tie into going down the wrong route.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a culmination of not having that routine and that focus. It's for a week, it's okay. But when it adds up over weeks and weeks and months, that's when you kind of realize that actually I'm just kind of plodding along here doing nothing really. You know what I mean? I've been there myself.
Kind of, those 24 months, you could say it lasted, right?
Yeah.
It's difficult to get back to and even remember what life was like.
Yeah.
And at such a crucial period where you're having that transition from university, not really having a lot of responsibility, not really focusing on employment and work
Yeah.
and what comes next. Having a 2-year gap makes that even harder.
Definitely amplifies it. You bang on with that. I remember there was a period I had with like, I went from in person to before I launched like the online program. There was a period in the middle where it was like, I'm not doing anything. And it's like, it's okay, like not to do anything at that time. Then trying to get back into like rebuilding a business, the hardest thing in the world. Like it was so, like, I didn't want to do it at the time, but luckily my missus gave me a kick up the arse. She was like, come on, man, crack on. Like, but yeah, you're absolutely bang on with that. It definitely amplifies it.
Mm.
So you was going through that, then you joined Fit for 90, obviously when things started to kind of progress from there post-COVID. What was your first impression of the program? But before you answer this, you don't have to say it was great, because I looked back at things before this podcast and I looked at some things like when the program started, I was like, can't believe I was doing that, or can't believe that was in there. Or like, there are some things that like I've removed since, but what was your first impressions when you joined?
No, absolutely. You know what? I'll start just a little bit before that as well, because
Go for it.
having coming out of that sort of COVID period, what was nice is meeting a lot of the local boys and a lot of the Bexley boys,
Yes.
EWD, and getting back into that network of football, having
Yeah.
just had that network being up in Manchester at university.
Yeah.
And then coming through that, being unfit, being very overweight, there was a lot of injuries that we were struggling with, as you could, as we all
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was essentially the driving factor of something needs to be done here.
Absolutely. Just
Yeah.
touching on that, like, for those people that don't know, we grew up in a very similar area. Obviously, now I live halfway across the country, but we grew up in a similar area, and a lot of the lads that we grew up with, they created their own Sunday league side, right? And what that did is it's like brought all the lads together. I remember it was just before I actually moved from London up to the Midlands. And like a lot of the lads are kind of like, it happens in life, like they start to kind of drift apart a little bit. Like everyone's got their own things going on, which is a normal part of life. But I think this really brought everyone back together, and using football as the vehicle to do that is wicked to see. Like I see a lot of the lads here and there, like across the year, and I look at a lot of stuff on socials and they're absolutely flying. Like, did you think it would be as big as it is or would last as long as it has when it started?
No, absolutely not. Exactly as you say it. That was kind of the thing that brought me back into, number one, football. Number two, that sense of community. Number three, wanting to be better for kind of a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
It's a shame that you went actually during that time.
I was
I think
gutted.
we
Yeah.
may have only had one goal session together.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe. I know I used to play with your brother quite a lot, but
Yeah.
not so many times with you.
No.
Yeah. But
That was it. It was like we used to play goals on like a Monday. It was a Monday session, Tuesday session, Wednesday session, all different groups from the same area. And essentially like all of those three groups got put together into a Sunday league side, and
yeah,
the rest is history, isn't it? It's a great idea. But yeah, it's definitely born together.
It's funny the way it's developed as well. A lot
Absolutely, man.
names coming in and out, but I think the core group that finally got established, it was a great foundation to take the club where it is now.
Absolutely.
But going back to the program during those times, very primitive, very primitive. I mean, I think we started with just maybe following, it might have been just a little PDF screenshot.
It was, it was PDFs, yeah.
On Google Docs about
that's right.
what you're doing on these days. I remember this was a great time because it was when I was coming out of my injury. We went to our Excel spreadsheet. Very dynamic.
Yes. Yeah. I remember the spreadsheets. Is that where you had about 100 different tabs? Well, it wasn't 100, but there was a fair few different tabs. And it was like, that one links to that one syncs to that. And to be fair, the spreadsheets, I'm a big fan of them, but it was a headache to manage, man. Especially when you as you acquire more clients, like dealing with the spreadsheets was really like, it would blow my mind sometimes, honestly. And I'm pretty good with spreadsheets as well. So yeah, we had the PDFs, we had the Excels. In terms of like, you mentioned about the lack of structure beforehand, like when you joined, what was the biggest thing about the routine and the structure that you found beneficial? Like, because it takes a bit of time to acquire not the knowledge, the habits to when you start something new. Like what was the biggest thing that you found that was beneficial?
Yeah, great question. I think for me, it was the number one, having accountability, visibility, having that sort of documented somewhere, having our check-ins as well, and tracking our progress, whether that was going to be with strength in the gym, numbers on the scale, what's going into my fitness pal.
Yeah.
And then what happens is you have the compounding effect, which I think is a very underrated part of the program.
Yeah.
and how that builds in and ties into what decisions you make
Yeah.
away from the gym and away from
Yeah.
training.
Absolutely, man. For those lads like maybe not familiar with the compounding effect, obviously I'm very familiar with it as you had a lot of other lads um, within the program. Like, just go a little bit in depth on like what the compound effect is and like how it, from your perspective as a player and a client, like how does it look and feel? Because I can see it from my side as a coach, but how does it look and feel as a player when you're going through that? Because there's always a lag effect, isn't there, on the things that you do?
Yeah, of course. I think, the main thing is sticking with it during that period where you're doing the work, you're not seeing those kind of exponential gains just yet,
Yeah.
but they are there, they're gaining. And I
Yeah.
think putting the graft in at that period is number one, is it's great for building discipline, as we've had to
Yeah.
build over these years.
Yeah. Yeah. Serious levels.
Yeah, it's definitely a life lesson. But I think once you start to approach the curve and you start to see these results, that's when the dopamine starts firing. You start to
Yes.
look forward to your training, looking forward to your nutrition, putting a bit more effort into here. And then you start to tie in the other things, sleep,
Yeah.
timing, the other strategies that you can put in place. So
Definitely, man.
it takes a while, but once you get to that end point, it's
Yeah, I agree with that. I was trying to use the analogy of the snowball effect. You know, when you start rolling a snowball down a hill, it's like there's not much going on, but as it picks up momentum, you get this ball that goes bigger and bigger and bigger because it's got more momentum behind it. It's the same with any coaching program, to be fair. You probably hear me say it 100 times in the group chat. Like I said, there's a lag effect on everything that we do, like at least 6 weeks when it comes to training, nutrition, because quite honestly, if I was to say do X, Y, Z today, it's going to take 2 weeks just to get into the habits and routines of doing it. And then 4 weeks to actually see the benefit of that. So like the work we do today is always going to show up in like 4, 6 weeks time. Right. And I think that's one thing. I think that's why I'm such a big fan of like anyone who's got themselves into shape or built like good fitness or a good physique. You have to give them a certain level of respect to say like, that's hard graft. There's no cheating when it comes to that. You know? Like that takes hard work and there's no one else who's going to do it for you. It's like, you have to go through that process and understand that there's a compound effect, number one, but there's also a lag effect, isn't there? So you absolutely bang on with that. I think you've seen more versions of Fit for 90 than almost anyone, considering how long you've been in the program. Like, what's some of the biggest improvements that you've noticed over the recent years?
Yeah. I think the main thing is the personalization of the program for everyone. I think it started in a lot more of a generic spot than it, of
Yeah,
course, is now.
yeah,
I also think the accessibility of it. I mean, I was going back to the spreadsheets. We went from PDF to spreadsheets.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then we started developing the app. And now we've got, a really good personal app. And even for the user, but for you,
yeah,
it's so easy to make those tweaks. I remember before, if we needed a change in our strategy, in our exercises, take a couple of days, maybe a week. But I can ask you now, after a physio session today, this is what
yeah,
we need to do. And you can
yeah.
have these done in the next, if you've got the time, the next hour. So,
Easily, yeah.
yeah.
That's the beauty of it. Absolutely. I think that the big thing as well, like using AI like that we're at right now, and not AI to replace coaching because I'm not a big fan of that. Like I think it's important to have the knowledge and the tools and the resources and the experience that I've got, and then utilize AI and say, right, I want to do this. Help me do it faster, but don't replace what I'm doing. You know, I think using AI and being able to build things like we've got that the dashboard where you can have like the fueling timeline and the match day protocols and the training, nutrition, all those little things that you can like these little web-based apps that we can create to utilize as tools within the program. Like that's been an absolute game changer as well for a lot of lads. And it's scary to think like where it's going to go in the next few years in terms of AI, which is crazy. Have you seen like any benefits in using the AI kind of all, so to speak, or is it more so being like the true coach and the accountability and the one-to-one element?
Yeah. For me, I think where we are as well, especially in the kind of injured phase, I haven't really had that much exposure to the AI capabilities that we have now.
That's right.
But I definitely can see how, from a efficiency standpoint, they can come in clutch. And
Yeah.
of course, optimizing your pipelines as well. Kind of
Yeah.
doing that dirty work you don't really want to do can
Yeah.
be done.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think for me, it's accountability, one-to-ones, and knowing what I need to do on each day and kind of just taking it a day at a time.
Good answer, man. That actually brings me to my next question, which was if you had to keep just one thing from Fit for 90
Yeah.
forever, what would
Okay.
that one thing be?
What a question. it's difficult because I love our one-to-ones.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It has to be that one-to-one, isn't it? I'm thinking if it was me asking
They do
myself
a
the
lot.
question.
They do a lot that gets swept under in terms of motivation, kind of coming back to topics you may have addressed. But
Yeah.
if we didn't have the app and we didn't have the workouts there, I mean, ultimately it does the tracking for you.
Yeah.
So I know there are tracking tools and you can do them yourself. I know people still using the Notes app,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, I think the app is for where I am and being able to measure progress. If I just had the app and had nothing else, that would be the tool for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a massive part of it, isn't it? It's that athletic training blueprint. No matter whether you're injured, whether you're fit, it's having that plan when you're literally when I'm walking to the gym. I just come back from the gym now. Like I'm walking to the gym and I'm like, right, this is what I've got to do today. So when I step through the doors, it's like I know exactly where I'm going in the gym, exactly what I'm doing, how many sets, reps, whatever I need. Like it's there. Which yeah, you're absolutely bang on with that.
I think that's the main thing as well. It's when we were having a lot more football time personally, it was, especially just in terms of phases throughout the season,
Mhm.
knowing when to build strength, knowing when we're in the middle of the season, how to taper off, but still maintain,
Mhm.
knowing at what point through the season and what type of strength training we're doing, plyometrics we're doing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know that, the ins and outs of it.
Yeah, that's right.
Without the blueprint, it's hard to basically stay on top of it. For me, I
Yeah.
find.
No, I
I'm
agree.
so
I agree.
focused on what I need to do today. Sometimes it's difficult to know what I need to do next week, next month,
Yeah, bang on, man.
next year. So
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, right? And even still, I use the same system that you guys use. Like I was planning my next phase today because I've got friendlies coming up now for pre-season. It's like I need to manage the load as well. And like having that planning in the app, to be fair, like programming in the app and doing everything I need to do. So I'm like, it's ahead of time. It's planned ahead of time. It does take a lot of the guesswork out of it, which I think is, yeah, you're right. It's a massive, massive part of having that coach in your corner. I think you're bang on with that. I want to speak a little bit about your ACL
cool.
because obviously that's been a massive part of your journey because it happened quite early on, didn't it? In terms of your since joining when joining Fit for 90. So talk us through. I remember the day you did it. It was he was doing step overs, wasn't he? So talk us through the injury itself and like what was going through your head immediately afterwards because it's something that a lot of lads do experience. ACL injuries are one of the most common. Like what went through your head and
Yeah.
talk us through what happened.
Yeah. It was a Monday session. It was a session I wasn't really meant to be playing, but I thought, you know what? Let me get a bit of fitness in today. It was a very casual session and I may have done a step over a bit too wide, I
Yeah,
think was the issue. And yeah, literally what happened was I just remember being on the floor. Felt like I got kicked by a horse essentially. And I remember the sound of it snapping. It was like a gunshot went through the whole
yeah,
goal. It was terrible. And my mate tried to get me back up, just fell back down. Managed to limp off. I think the adrenaline was pumping so much at that time.
yeah,
Managed to drive home. Sort of didn't want to accept it, but I had to cut the session short.
yeah. Of course.
At the time, I was hoping, just a low grade meniscus tear and nothing too crazy. Didn't really know too much about ACLs at that time. I think it was a time where professional footballers especially started to get them a lot more and a lot more. So it was definitely very new to me. Yeah, like I guess it's every footballer's worst nightmare, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think ACL injuries and Achilles injuries, like a rupture,
Yeah,
I think those two are like top of the list just because of the recovery time. You know, as a footballer, if you like you're confirmed 100%, you've done your ACL, ruptured your Achilles tendon, you know it's going to be a journey, to get back. What was the hardest part of the injury? Like in the days following, weeks following, was it more physical? Was it more mental? I'm sure that shifted along the way as well. But what was the hardest part?
yeah. I think for the first couple sort of days, weeks, it was hoping for the best outcome. Kind of just trying to pass the days, get that MRI scan, get that diagnosis. I think mentally, what made it so difficult is I was playing my best football I've ever
Yeah,
played before
yeah,
then.
I remember.
Unreal football, personally speaking.
Yeah,
So the thoughts going through my head were, I'm let the boys down, when am I going to get back into it? We've got to help the team. And I think the mental is as bad, if not possibly worse than the physical.
I agree.
Get back to, depending on how severe your injury is and sort of what else you've done, a lot of people say they get back to walking and then a general movement quite early. For me, that wasn't the case.
Mm,
So I did struggle for the first 4 to 6 months quite heavily, with number one, being able to have that movement side of things, but also mentally just not knowing what's next.
Yeah. One thing, like, I think, and this is a big part of why I wanted to get you on the podcast, is to highlight the resilience. Because I think, as I say, like, I think you're probably one of the most resilient players I've ever trained, to be honest with you. I think there's maybe one or two others that I could probably put in on par with you. But in terms of like the ability to just like look it in the face and say, okay, this is a situation, but I'm going to crack on. That's a very, very rare quality. A lot of lads would just lose their head, and understandably, like within the situation, but you've definitely got a good level of resilience. Like, what's kept you going, knowing that you're not playing football at the moment, you're not going to be playing for a little while. Obviously, along the way, there's been setbacks in terms of like appointments and the way they kind of drag things out. It's been tough, right? What's kept you going beyond that?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, resilience is there, but heads were lost across. Heads have been a bit lost.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is, since being on the program as well, we've had our setbacks with other, I don't want to say minor injuries, because they've kept us out of football for a couple of months, if not maybe half a year. Going through that process of trusting the process, essentially, trusting what we're doing, trust what the program has for me, and I can come back at a better position, essentially. I think that's the main thing. Really, when an injury like this happens to anyone, is your only outlook that keeps you going is, my only option now is to come back stronger and better. I have all this time to develop qualities I haven't been able to do during this season.
Yeah.
What kind of, essentially looking at foundations of what caused this injury. Yes, there's a luck aspect to it, but biomechanically, there's some things that you can work on, especially for my case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was quite a significant factor keeping me going for it, because I know I'm going to come back in a better state biomechanically.
Yeah.
It's still tough. It's still extremely difficult. And, even there, we're far from the end. But
Agree.
it's having that kind of end goal. You need to, it's one of two. You either give up, you say, I'm done with it, it's not really worth my time, or some people like me, maybe a bit in their head, really kind of at that level of playing football, because there's no feeling like it.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that's a really good point. Like, it's having that growth mindset. Like, there's, say, for example, you do the injury, say, when you did it, and then 4 years down the line, say, for example, you're going to be, that point's going to come, right? So that 4 years from that point is going to come. What you do between then is really going to dictate whether you're going to be in the same position or not, right? Just as an example. And I think you saying like it's almost controlling the controllables. And I think that's a massive lesson that lads listening to this, if you're injured or not and you're listening to this, like, that's a massive one. Because I've been injured myself as well. I've had many, many injuries. It is literally a case of like, I think, remember, like I said, give yourself 48 hours, give yourself a few days, go and smash through a pizza, go and like enjoy yourself. But then just like think about what can we control beyond that. And you locked into it straight away, I remember. And it was like, obviously there did been ups and downs along the way, but overall you was like, you really locked into, okay, what can I do rather than what can't I do? And I think if you just have that perspective, especially when you're injured, that does get you back faster than an athlete who's constantly focused on I can't do this, I'm missing football, I can't do that, I'm struggling with this. Yeah, I get that's a massive part of it, and it's very, very tough. But I think in terms of the building that resilience, like, would you say focusing more on the cans versus the can'ts for maybe an injured player watching this right now? Like, what would you suggest to them? Because you're in a much better position than I am to be able to give that advice.
Yeah, it's quite a tough one. For me, again, we're still waiting. For those who don't know this, we've got 2 more surgeries planned, but we haven't even touched the ACL reconstruction yet.
Yeah. We'll come to the osteotomy in a moment.
Yeah,
Actually,
we'll come to that. But yeah, I think, as you said, controllables, as difficult as it is to do at the time, be angry about it, take your time off, as you said, do what you got to do, but don't fall out of good habits is the main thing.
Yeah.
Stick to your routine, stick to what you can do, and you'll notice that, as we all know, we're going to be in a better position. I think a good example of this is kind of 2 edges of the same sword, right? Is we had such a long time between injury day and first surgery, but what that did allow us to do is really build that quad strength up, essentially become functional. I mean, getting back to running, it took quite a long time, but getting back to running, doing what we could. And the result of that is, after the first surgery, I got discharged off my crutches 4 weeks early.
Incredible.
So week 10 is the target. I think week 10 is next week. I got discharged after 3 weeks ago. So
Yeah, it's incredible, man. And that's again down to what you can focus on, what you can do rather than the can't.
exactly.
Yeah, it's really, it's a great lesson, to be honest with you. How do you separate your identity from football when football isn't there at the moment? The reason why I say about identity, because you, me, a lot of lads in the program, a lot of lads watching this right now, they identify themselves as footballers, as athletes, all right? And there's nothing wrong with that, because I think it's important to have that identity. But the biggest thing, we see this often, especially with elite athletes, because that's all they know, is when they get injured or they retire as well. That's a great example, is they don't know what to do. Like, they really struggle to shift that identity. So how do you separate your identity from football when you're not playing football?
No, fantastic question, because this was the biggest thing I suffered with post-injury. It was, number one, of course, not knowing what to do with your time, but during playing football, during that period, you have a different sense of like kind of swagger, especially if you're playing well and you're doing good and you're around the boys and you're getting positive feedback. You have that swagger, and for that to be taken completely away from you is awful, essentially.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing you can do, and it's kind of general advice that gets thrown around as well, is focus on things that you didn't have time to focus on. So shift your identity to, what can I do for my family? How can I be supportive for them? How can I be better in my job? How can I essentially be better for myself? There's different aspects of everyone's life that's going to be different, where you can build your identity, but I think it's very important to still keep the end goal there and just realize I'm still a footballer. I'm just out of the game for a bit.
Yeah, that's a wicked answer, man. Really good answer. That's something I have always struggled with. It's probably one of the reasons why I take my fitness and my health and everything so seriously, because I know if I get injured, everything suffers. My football obviously suffers. The way I kind of show up in the business, because a lot of the things I do within the business is like me leading from the front, me showing you things how to do it, like breaking things down through the week, videos, all of that stuff. Like, I can't physically do it if I'm injured. And I think it's one of the biggest reasons I try and stay fit is mainly for that reason, and also being able to have that release, because when that's not there, I really struggle. I always have, always will. Been a bit easier since the missus has come into my life, because she kind of gives a different perspective. I'm sure you've had the same as well with the missus. Like, I think having that supportive partner, which we both got very luckily, does really help. But before that, I'm sure you're probably the same. Like, it was tough, man. Like,
Yeah,
being able to
I was
trying to deal with that by yourself.
awful. I was an awful person to be around.
Yeah. Trust me.
So that little period of kind of flipping your mentality and not changing your identity, but shifting it slightly. I
Yeah.
think of my close ones have benefited from it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Big
Yeah,
up the missus as well.
yeah,
She's
big up to
listen to this. Let's talk about the osteotomy, because not a lot of lads know even what that is. So for those that don't know, explain what the osteotomy involved, and the reasoning behind it. Because obviously we know inside out, but just explain it for the lads who are watching this right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we'll start off with the reason for it in the first place. I was born with a deformity, valgus deformity, where it's essentially knock knees. Your knees are angled inwards rather than being straight. You have the opposite effect where a lot of players are bow-legged.
Oh, yeah.
The main kind of issue with that long term is where your bone sits, where your femur, your shin bone sits. You're going to have a non-symmetrical degeneration, basically, of your cartilage. Now, it was a miracle we didn't have an ACL there for 27 years. But what happened at first was we went for our appointments with our ACL reconstruction, but I kind of pushed for the osteotomy because the ACL we could have got done in 6 months. You could have also gone and got it done.
Yeah.
I knew rushing that process, I still would have come back and been in a biomechanically unfavorable position.
Yeah.
So it's kind of another reason why the first surgery's taken so long. I think it's been 19 months now, which is crazy to not have an ACL.
Isn't it?
Crazy to not have an ACL. So finally pushing for that. And what that is they, depending on the Q angle from your hip to your foot, it's different for everyone. You either have a closed wedge or an open wedge osteotomy. And it's where they'll either cut a wedge into your bone, and in an open wedge, they will brace both sides of the bone and essentially put a bone graft in and wait for it to heal, and that will change your alignment. Or in my case, it was a DFO, and it was a distal femoral osteotomy, and it was a closed wedge. So the good thing for my one is that, yes, I got a plate in, the wedge was cut out and it was closed. So recovery from that is it's a bit more efficient because you've got the bone contact.
Yes.
Yeah, that's essentially all there is to the osteotomy. General comeback is well, I say comeback, but return to walking is around 10 to 14 weeks.
Yeah.
Then
We're ahead of that. Which is
we're ahead. But I think general activity after that is a lot more difficult. It is a lot more traumatic surgery than the ACL. It takes about 2 hours, where you can get your ACL done in about 45 minutes. And of course, you're either partial weight bearing or non-weight bearing, depending on what they and how much damage there is. I think it's down to whether it's a closed or open. Compared comparing that to just an ACL reconstruction.
yeah.
If you're lucky and you've got no meniscus damage or you have nothing else that needs to be repaired, some people come out and they're not even on crutches.
Yeah.
Surgeon will
Crazy.
turn straight on the bike and start walking it. So I've seen some crazy things.
I think one thing about, like, coming back to what you mentioned about the focus on what you can control and looking at the positives from the ACL. I think this is actually one of them. And, like, because we really broke it down. We had so many conversations about this, and it's like looking at the route and saying, listen, we can go and get the ACL surgery done, but then what's the next step after that? Thinking a little bit more long term, remember? And I think, like, where you start doing a bit more research on it, the osteotomy, I think that's actually right now is tough. I know it's difficult, but I think the bigger picture, if we zoom out a little bit, I think it's actually a massive, massive positive, because then when we do get to that point where you've done the ACL surgery and now it's like, right, let's start building those foundations back up. We're in a position where everything is in alignment, so to speak. Something that you've dealt with all your life suddenly isn't there in terms of the valgus. So it's from my perspective, easy to say maybe because I'm not physically going through it, although sometimes it feels like I am with you. Like some of the things, like I really feel for you sometimes, but it's definitely, I think it is a positive when we zoom out a little bit, but it's difficult in the here and now to try and see that sometimes. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Definitely. I think that's the main thing for me, is kind of keeping me going and having that kind of end goal, is that having to stay fit and play football at the level that I was playing. So much more prep had to be done in order to do that.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, looking at my team members, and great footballers, excellent footballers, but some of them, they don't give a toss about their training. Crazy talented individuals, but they haven't had to really deal with all the work that comes with just being at a normal level to be able to play football.
Yeah, man.
And I think that's the thing coming out of it that's going to be the biggest release, biggest weight off my shoulders, is all the compensations, all the kinks and nooks in the body that we need to prime and mobilize before any session will get taken out. So hopefully things become a bit more efficient. That mental load gets taken off, which is a big, big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of just led me into my next question, which was, what do you think players take for granted when they're healthy?
Question.
The answer could be everything, isn't it? Like, players take everything for granted until they get an injury, even the small things like you really miss. But what do you think?
I think it's for me right now, it's having to optimize so many other things in my life.
Yeah.
From food timing to nutrition to going out with friends, and just being able to do spontaneous motives, and being able to go on holiday, and all these things that are normal in everyday life. Now they take such a precedent that it's definitely tough, but you do learn how important those things are. And coming back into normal life when we eventually do, hopefully those things will become the standard.
Yeah, I like that. What would you tell your younger self, knowing what you know now, or so far even?
Yeah.
Get it done early doors.
I think definitely prioritize nutrition, have a goal. If you need a coach to do that, get a coach. Can be quite an expense, but the benefits that I've seen from being on the program, the other version of me would be a menace.
Yeah. Be like, I always think about it. You ever seen Spider-Man where he's got like, there's the Venom. You got the dark side. I always think of that when players tell me like, oh yeah, I'm not sure, like, or they're sitting on the fence or something like that. It's like, well, you've got two options. You can be player A or player B, because ultimately, like, a certain point is going to come. It just depends on what you do when you get there. You're absolutely bang on with that.
Yeah, I think for me, it was a case of trying to bring up kind of the valgus deformity to the NHS, of course, a few times and just being dismissed.
Mm.
You know, we all know how the NHS is. And it's a shame that until something very traumatic happens, they won't do the work.
Yeah.
But yeah, my kind of going back to that point of we've got a Venom and Spider-Man, it's do I want to be COVID Harj or do I want to be present Harj? So
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
it kind of keeps me going.
It's like what you're doing now looks after your future self. That's the way I
Absolutely.
always think of it. Like when I've just come back from a session now, like I did not want to go. It was hard graft. I'm just thinking in my head, like 2 weeks time, 4 weeks time, like what does that came in want to look like? How do I want to feel knowing that I've done the work? I could have easily sacked it off and thought, like, you know what, I'll just chill out today. But then that same came in 2 weeks time isn't going to be the same version. It's going to be doubting, thinking, oh, I missed a couple of sessions. And that's where it really starts to like play on your mind, especially if you're built like we are and the way that like these little things really do make a big difference for us. But yeah, you're absolutely bang on with that. It's looking after the future self, isn't it? What mistakes do you see? Because you've been in the program a long time, as I mentioned, that I think you're in a good position to answer this question, which is like, what are some mistakes that you see players making with their training?
Yeah. I will focus this on here. I'll focus this question to when teammates, players get injured and what they do to come back. I remember going to watch the boys, a few of the boys would get injured, let's say a hamstring injury.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come off the pitch and be like, what's wrong, what's wrong? And I'm no physio, but we've had enough injuries to be able to diagnose and kind of come back from it in a good. And I sort of asked the next week, like, what have you been doing to come back? Oh, yeah, like, just it out. And I tried to go for a run,
Yeah.
come back training, and I just made it worse. Cool. Like, you have access to physio, you know, there's physio. I know it costs money, but it's either get a path and kind of get a program to return, or it's going to be you're either going to have compensation in the rest of your body for however long you will, or you just continue to damage what you've whatever injury that is. And I'll come back again the next week. What have you been doing? Oh yeah, done a couple hamstring curls in the gym,
Yeah.
done some stretching. Next week, bang, off again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's bang on, man. Honestly, that's
it's
so true.
and this is what Fit for 90 is so great. Having access to return protocols, what you need to do at what phase.
Yeah.
You can get lucky and have a low grade hamstring pull, tear, and you'll be all right in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's pretty bad, then you need to have a detailed phased return. You need to know what to do and when to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, catching and doing a couple hamstring curls and going back to running it's not it. It's
Yeah.
not.
See, like when you say it like that, it's crazy that players do that. Like it blows my mind. The biggest one for me is when players say, yeah, I'll be resting it and then I'm going to go back to team training after a few weeks. And I'm like, don't go back into team training. That's like your return to performance phase. There's
Exactly.
steps before that. Like you're not even started running yet. You're not even hit top speed in a controlled environment yet. And you want to go and do it on a football pitch in this chaotic environment in a football pitch. Like blows my mind, man. But that is it's absolutely bang on. Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. I actually think with the hamstring rehabilitation we have within Fit for 90, there's actually about 4 phases before you even get back to sprinting. And it's like there's a few lads in the program at the moment who've been through that. And when you go through those 4 phases and then you hit the top speeds, you're confident because you know your hamstrings are super, super strong, super robust. And then it's like you've hit that speed session, go team training, crack on. Like, let's get back to playing football, you know? But you just got to earn the right to get there. And that's so many lads just don't. Maybe it's they don't understand it, do you think? Or they're just lazy?
I think it's 2 things. I think it's exposure to that, and I also think it's kind of experience. People, man, especially me, I only know so much about this side of things because I've been there. Same with you. We've struggled with so many injuries over the past years. There's only one way to prevent injuries, and it's do the research and do the work. Lads who have been lucky with not having so many injuries over the past years, they're not really going to know what to do when that time finally comes, and it can be really changing for some people. You know?
Yeah, bang on. Absolutely bang on. Thinking about getting help with their training, but they keep putting it off. What would you say to them? And this isn't necessarily a hail to say come and join Fit for 90, but like just in terms of like your advice around where they need to focus their energies, like what would you recommend? Because you've been through the journey yourself.
Yeah, I'd say the main thing is what keeps a lot of lads away is expenses. So the first thing is cut out all the shit you don't really need, all the shit that's keeping you back, keeping you not the best way of yourself. And I'm sure as shit that's enough, more than enough money to be able to have a coach, whether that's fit for 90, whether it's not, but cut back where you can and realize you're going to be in a better position by doing this, essentially.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're not moving, you're not progressing, you're just there, you're just stagnant. And that's what we don't want.
absolutely. That's comes back to the growth mindset. And I think I call it a transfer of spend. I've implemented this myself. I've got 2 coaches at the moment. We've got Callum, who does a lot of the in-house nutrition stuff. And then I've got Jack, who's my business coach. I had to look at, okay, where am I spending my money right now? What's not really serving me? Cool. Let me cut that shit out and let me go and invest it in my business. And it was the best investment I ever made because it changed my life. And
That's
that
it.
transfer of spend, I'm not spending any more money. It's just a transfer of spend from things that weren't really serving me, going out multiple times on the weekends with my mates, drinking, hanging around the wrong characters to say, cool, I can cut that out and we're going to put it into my business. So you're absolutely bang on in terms of transfer of spend, whether it's with me, whether it's with someone else, doesn't really matter. It's about making sure that you've got like that plan of action in place and you're not leaving things to chance. Because when you leave things to chance, then, well, we know how that ends up,
Exactly.
I've enjoyed today. I want to finish with some quick fire questions. I did mention this before I started hitting record, so hopefully you're ready. I've got about 10 questions or so that I try and ask my guests. Quick fire questions, okay? Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Right, okay. This first one, right. I think I probably know the answer to this one. Right, let's do it. So, biggest football regret?
Not starting a program earlier.
Good one. Favourite football memory?
Tournament where I saw you.
Oh, yes. Warsaw. Yeah.
That's a cool about favorite football memory. Favorite football memory, I would say, is I was down in Brighton with my Saturday team, and I scored the best goal of my life.
Sick. Screamer.
Yeah, got it crossed in. I caught it in the air, and without even touching the ground, scissor kicked it and hit the crossbar.
Love that, man. Love that.
Best goal I've ever scored in my life.
Most underrated exercise?
I'd say Nordics for speed.
Yeah, good one. Very good one. Long to set up, but very, very well worth it.
You need to be at the right stage to do it.
Absolutely. Least favourite rehab exercise?
Yeah, for me right now, it's definitely squats.
Yeah.
The pain is crazy.
One thing you're looking forward to most after surgery?
I know it's a quick fire. I think it's self-identity and just knowing that I don't have to worry about being in a bad kind of position biomechanically. And also another thing is, I've lost the word now, but it's, when you feel people are looking or thinking about you differently. What's that word?
Assumption?
Not assumption. It's self-esteem.
Is it esteem?
Self-esteem.
No, my mind's gone blank on that one. When other people are looking at you.
Like how you view other people looking at you. I'll say a different one. What was the question again?
No, I know what you're on about. It's just going to bug me now. We can self. There's people probably listening to this right now saying it, and like I can't.
I know. For example, I'd be out and I'd be thinking, oh man, I've got dodgy knees. How does this person perceive me? That's one.
What's it called? That's going to bug me. That is, man. Self-conscious. You're self-conscious of what other people. Yeah. That's it. Right. Yeah. So coming back to the question, like one thing you're most looking forward to after surgery is being less self-conscious.
Having one less thing to focus about in a day and having a bit
I
more.
like that.
I'll just add focus.
I'll add my 2 pence piece in there. The one thing I'm most looking forward to you after surgery is actually just I'll come down to London. We'll just ping some long balls. Like obviously get you back to being able to ping a ball, but just pinging some balls on a freshly cut grass in the middle of summer. Can't beat it, man.
That's another thing for me is finally being able to play with you a bit more. I know we had our little session at O2.
Yeah, where
we were about the ACL and smashing balls again at Pocket Social.
Yeah, that was a good day there.
Finally being able to.
Yeah, definitely, man. That'd be great. Best player you've played with?
Amazing. It's got to be my boy, Josh Tind. It's got to be.
Big up, Josh. Yeah. Top player, man.
He always has the connection. I feel like we've always done it, man.
I love that. Best player you've played against?
It'd have to be, I think it was a ringer from a national league.
No.
I don't know his name.
Yeah.
I played against him one of my Saturday league games and he absolutely ran it.
Really?
Couldn't get near him. Every time I wanted to get a ball, he just pinged me off. I don't know.
There's levels, isn't there?
I'd have to find that. Yeah.
Do you know what step he was?
He was ex-pro.
Oh, was he ex-pro?
I'll have to find out and get that name out there.
That's one thing I've noticed as well, playing against like any ex-pros. Like there's a different level there that people just don't realise until you go and play on a pitch with them. The level that they operate at is just different. They do everything faster. They're 2 steps ahead of everyone. Physically, they're fitter. It's just It's crazy. You don't
Crazy.
realize the difference in levels until you see it on a full pitch. You're like, yeah, sound. I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing.
It's mad what they can still bring to the game at 50.
Mad, isn't it?
It's
Yeah, I think I think it was Leroy Lita. Do you remember Leroy Lita?
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was him. He played in a tournament in the KFF in the A section, and we
Yeah.
played against him. And I kid you not, I was holding mid, so he was kind of playing it up front, but he kept dropping in because obviously he's not running in behind anymore. He's a lot older. He put one arm across my chest. Yeah, I kid you not, like I've never felt strength like it. The guy was absolutely solid. It was just a different level of strength I've never felt.
Yeah.
But yeah, you bang on. They can always bring a lot to the game. He was running riot at whatever age he is now. It's crazy.
It's funny when you get checked when you feel like you're a strong player.
Yeah,
and then you come against a real strong player.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I need to get to the gym, man.
Yeah.
What's your favourite pre-match meal?
Okay, this has changed over time, but I think in the morning it will be porridge and fruit, blueberries, bananas,
My favourite
honey,
too,
maybe
yeah.
maple syrup. Night
Nice.
before, don't go be smashing pizzas. You
Yeah.
don't want it's that thing. Favourite and most efficient is different. So yeah, I think back in the day before we kind of changed our nutrition approach, it was just spaghetti bolognese, smashing it. Loaf of garlic bread on the side.
To be fair, it's not a bad one. It's just like
Not the worst one.
It's not a bad one.
Could be improved.
It could be, yeah. We're talking like fine tuning, but yeah, spag bowl was one of my favourites, to be fair. Spag bowl is banging. What's your favourite takeaway order? In fact, what's your favourite takeaway? And then whatever that is, what's your favourite order from that takeaway?
All right. Recently since shout out the Patel brothers as well, since they've opened the Pepe's, it's gotta be Pepe's, man. Any Pepe's, Nando's, grilled chicken.
Yeah, man.
Chips if you're feeling naughty, but honestly, anything on that menu. If you're feeling naughty, the top chips are there. Obviously, it's been a long time since we've had those.
Yeah.
So I've been tailoring more towards the just get a whole chicken, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, just get a whole chicken, some pita bread and salad, and you're
Can't go wrong, man.
Can't go wrong, man. You can't go wrong.
It's so true. I think Nando's has been like a staple in British culture. Like every time we play football, Nando's, and especially depending how much we've played, it's like bonus platter and then like 4 sides of Happy Days. Like you just have that to yourself. It's crazy.
It's funny because like growing up and being on the program, my food taste has changed a lot as well. It's probably, if you asked me a couple of years ago, I would have said Chinese, but now it's just even getting a nice chicken shish on the weekend, bit of salad.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, man, I agree. It's often to like how you feel after. I remember I used to love getting the Mackies on the weekend. Like every now and again, I think that's a treat. But then over time, it's like, this ain't really a treat because I wake up feeling like shit. It's like, I'd rather get something much cleaner and still a treat, but you don't feel written off the next day, you know? Final one, most used app on your phone.
Yeah, MyFitnessPal for sure.
Yeah. Great answer, man. Great answer.
Yeah, needed.
Yeah, that's for those of you who are not in the program at the moment, we're trying to make that transition really of trying to come away from MyFitnessPal. But I think there's definitely a period of time and periods through the year where you have to use it just to kind of dial things in. But ultimately, we're trying to implement strategies where you don't have to track 24/7, you know. But it definitely, depending on the individual and the goal, I think that's a big part of it. I think that comes down to individualization. Some players need to track, some players don't necessarily need to. But as long as we can kind of teach you the principles, then you have the option to, okay, I can track this, or actually I'll implement a different strategy, obviously, that we use in the program.
I think for me as well, quickly on
go for it.
Having not being able to have that movement aspect in the grand schemes of training nutrition is where the finer margins, you have to dial in on them. For example, I think when we were obviously playing about 4 times a week, game day training, these things they don't really, I mean, we'd go to goals and get a Morley's after, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still wake up shredded. Like that used to be so like didn't really matter too much when you're burning 4,000 extra calories a week.
Yeah, that's true.
But now for sure you need to lock it on these things.
Yeah, definitely. And when you do get back to playing, you'll have a shitload more knowledge, understanding of how to fuel. And then if you want to like be a bit more flexible with it, you have that ability to do it, but also you've also got the knowledge as well on like how to properly fuel yourself, how to properly recover, which is invaluable because once you learn it, you know it for life. That's a massive part of this. I wanted to mention you're documenting your entire rehab online now. So you're on TikTok and on Instagram. Just tell people where they can follow it.
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok, it's at Real Gains Fitness, or it might be Real Gains. As Kevin said, it's just kind of a glimpse into my rehab journey, my recovery, and just kind of showing people you can do it. you know, if I can do it and going through kind of the hurdles that we've had to go through, especially with another 2 surgeries coming up, it's doable. It's possible. It takes a lot of work, but if I can do it, then I feel like the message is you all can. You just need to put in the work.
Absolutely, man. I think it's good to document things like that just to kind of, even if you inspire one person, that's one person you've helped. I think that's a massive, massive part of it. Final question. All of this, the surgeries and rehab is said and done. You're back playing football. What does success look like to you?
Success. I think the immediate target for my success is playing back-to-back 90s,
Yeah.
being at the peak of my fitness and being able to hit numbers and targets that were not previously being hit.
Mm-hmm.
Those will be strength numbers in the gym. It'll be gains on the pitch. So speed. It will be numbers in the net, goals in the net, assists.
Yeah.
I think just general overall quality of life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I love that. Like, I can't wait for it, man. I cannot wait for it.
it'll be a while, but I think it'll be
We'll
worth
get
it.
there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, man. I've really enjoyed this. I think the biggest thing from this is an insight into the resilience and the struggles you've gone through to still be standing and still actually have a positive head on your shoulders. It's massive. It's not a lot. A lot of lads can take a lot from this. And I've even taken some things as well myself, to be fair. But yeah, hats off to you, man. It's been enjoyable. It's been a long time coming, as I said. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure. I think the closing message from me will probably be, not every day has to be perfect. It doesn't have to be good. And you're not going to be positive every day, but you just have to do the work.
Yeah, spot on. I'm going to leave it on that because that is absolutely bang on. I don't think I need to add anything more to that. For those of you watching, like, share, subscribe. If you've got friends that are going through a tough time or they're struggling with injuries, even if they're not injured, they just have going through a tough time, like, share this with them, because even if they take one little thing from it, it could be that one thing that just triggers them to shift their perspective and maybe put a more positive head on the shoulders. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you very much.
Top man.